Imagine this for a second. You pull out your phone. Maybe it's a Tuesday, nothing special. You open up your banking app just to check your balance, and then you see it.
And the words just kind of hang there on the screen. Balance? 0. No way, right? It's got to be a mistake, some kind of glitch. So you do what we all do. You pull down to refresh. Your heart starts thumping just a little bit faster. You see that little wheel spin, and then it lands. Still 0.
Okay, one more time. Maybe even close the app, open it again. A hard refresh. But it's no use. Nothing. Just that impossible word. 0.
And then, right in the middle of that panic, imagine a voice just cuts through the noise. It's totally calm, totally in control, and it says, "You think this is a glitch? It's not."
You know that feeling? That gut-wrenching, sudden, how is this possible feeling of loss? Well, that is exactly what millions of people felt back in 2008. So today we're going to break down how a massive global financial system can, just make everything you've worked for vanish into thin air.
All right, so let's get into it. To really understand how the whole thing collapsed, we first need to look at the pretty simple system it was all built on, and more importantly, the simple lie that shattered it.
So in a normal world, right, this is how it's supposed to work. You want to buy a house, you go to a bank for a mortgage. The bank does its homework. They check your job, your income, your credit history, and if it looks like you can responsibly pay it back, boom, you get the loan. Simple, safe, makes sense.
But then, the rules completely changed. The whole focus shifted. It went from careful checks to basically no real questions asked. Suddenly, banks didn't seem to care if you could actually pay the loan back. Got a bad financial history? It didn't matter. They weren't really in the business of giving out safe loans anymore. They were in the business of just pushing money out the door.
And all of this easy money, it was like dumping gasoline on a fire. It created an absolute feeding frenzy. With so many people suddenly able to get loans, the demand for houses just skyrocketed, and prices they went insane. You're watching a $100,000 house become $150,000, then $200,000, then $300,000, just climbing faster and faster.
So you gotta ask, why didn't anyone stop it? Well, it's because almost everyone, and I mean everyone, from the first-time home buyer all the way up to the Wall Street CEO, was basically hypnotized by this one simple, powerful, and incredibly dangerous idea. Houses always go up. That was the mantra, and that was the lie the entire system was built on. Okay, so we've got this huge mountain of really bad loans. But the big question is, how did that poison the entire global economy? Well, it's all about how Wall Street got, let's say, creative and started packaging the rot. See, they came up with these things called mortgage-backed securities. The idea was, instead of a bank holding on to one single risky loan, they would take thousands of them, the good, the bad, and the truly awful, and just bundle them all together into one giant financial product that they could then sell off to investors. And here's the real trick. Inside these big packages, you had this toxic mix. A few good, low-risk loans were sprinkled in with a whole bunch of high-risk, really bad loans, the ones given to people who had no chance of ever paying them back. But from the outside, you couldn't tell the difference. And thanks to some pretty glowing ratings from the credit agencies, they were all sold as perfectly safe, AAA-rated investments.
But the truth, the thing that was hidden deep inside all these complicated financial products, was just rot.
So, this is the crucial part. How does a bunch of hidden rot in some financial products bring the entire world to a screeching halt? Well, this is where a few bad loans become a full-blown contagion, and the whole system just freezes solid. It's this terrifying domino effect, right? First, people start to default. They can't pay their mortgages. That makes the banks, who are holding all these now worthless loans, start to panic. So what do? They stop lending money to anyone. But when lending stops, businesses can't operate, they can't make payroll, they can't buy supplies, so they start laying people off. And what happens when people lose their jobs? Well, they can't pay their mortgages. It's a vicious cycle that just feeds on itself, getting faster and more destructive every single time. And if you could look inside the banks themselves, this is what you'd see. On paper, their assets looked huge. We're talking maybe $1 trillion. But in reality, once that housing bubble burst and all those loans went bad, the real value was just a tiny, tiny fraction of that. They were basically hollow. And look, this wasn't just some abstract numbers game on a computer screen. This had a devastating real-world impact. Businesses you knew, gone. The stock market crashed. And for millions of regular people, their retirement funds were just wiped out. Life savings just disappeared. Which brings us right back to where we started, staring at that phone with a zero balance. This whole story, it's a warning. It's a warning for us, right here, right now.
When you really boil it all down, the whole crisis comes down to a few things. Too much easy money, way too many bad loans, a whole lot of blind trust, and just not enough reality.
But here's the part that should probably keep you up at night. The global financial system we have today, it's even bigger, it's way more complex, and you could argue it's even more fragile than the one that completely shattered back in 2008.
So, all of this leaves us with a really big question, one that kind of echoes from the past. If this happens again, are you gonna see it coming?
Or will you just be staring at a screen, completely helpless, watching your balance disappear?